This week, the Public Health Agency is encouraging us all to talk to family and friends about our wishes about dying. Karina Grimes is from the Public Health Agency. She's with me. And I'm also joined by local journalist Kathryn Johnston, whose husband, Liam Clark, died more than a year ago. Liam, you may remember, of course, was the political editor at the Belfast Telegraph and was diagnosed with cancer. Just before he died, BBC Northern Ireland made a documentary with Liam and about how he and his family dealt with the diagnosis. Here's an excerpt.
I think it's worse for the relatives and the sufferer than the person who's got the disease. The relationship to the person changes. They maybe feel they're walking on eggshells. They shouldn't be saying things. I think it's difficult for relatives that they can get pushed into the sort of role of carer later on if it lingers on too long. And, it's quite hard to deal with that.
We were just saying, that must be hard to listen to, Kathryn, is it? Or...
It never entered my head you'd be playing a clip from it, Tara, so it was a bit of a shock. But I have to say, Liam was incredibly brave and courageous in the way he faced the reality of what was happening to him. I was just explaining to Karina before we came in here, he was diagnosed on the 21st of December 2013. And the week after that, Christmas, he marched us up to the solicitors in Belfast to write our wills and do advance directives. Liam was not afraid of dying at all. He repeatedly said that, and he told us all what his wishes were. And what worried him most was that he would be in pain, that he might end up perhaps in a vegetative state. This deeply, deeply, deeply concerned him. And at one stage, he had investigated membership of Dignitas. But to be honest, he liked to bargain and the cost of Dignitas put him off. But it's been such a comfort to me since he died, knowing that he faced his death with equanimity. As you said in the introduction, it's like taxes. We all know we're going to die. We're going to have to pay up. And it's been a really terrific relief to me to have had so many of those conversations with him, and I really think that's something that we need to have a public conversation in Northern Ireland about, and that's why I'm so delighted to see the Public Health Agency doing a promotion on Your Life and Your Choices Plan Ahead. I think it's long past time for that sort of talk.
And Kathryn, Liam was in a particular position. He did have a public profile, and obviously with the documentary, did he find the documentary process helped in that at various stages? How was that for you, just having that kind of additional kind of conversation?
Well, Liam unfortunately died when they'd only got a few hours of filming done. So Aaron Black, the producer, asked us what we wanted to do, and we thought that Liam's wishes were that he would want us to go on because he was very, very committed to it. He'd built up a terrific rapport with Aaron, and it was very, very important to him that this subject be aired. And in fact, the day he was diagnosed, he wrote in the Belfast Telegraph some months later, he was a Zen Buddhist, and he'd actually been meditating on the imminence of death that morning. But I think it was a bit of a shock to him. You don't expect to go for a routine check-up and be told the worst possible news. But I'd like to get back to something that Karina was saying about social media sites. I mean, that is something that I've had to face myself. That was something, funny enough, we did not discuss. But Liam had a huge following on Facebook and on Twitter. Now, his Twitter account's still open because I can't find out how to shut it down. But my children were on to me about closing down his Facebook site and his LinkedIn site, which I've now done. But I was only really prompted to it when I suddenly looked at my own Facebook profile, and it linked me married to Liam Clark, whatever his profile was, and I changed my status to widowed, and I couldn't do that. You have to write to Facebook and you have to ask for the page to be memorialised, which is very, very simple. There's a drop-down box and you tick it and they send you their sympathies and do the thing. Now, I haven't looked at a site since then, but that is the sort of everyday issue. We really do need to face it. And people were complaining to me about LinkedIn. They were getting reminders that Liam Clark had endorsed them for such and such a thing, and it was upsetting people.
Yeah, I mean, it takes that pressure away. Is that something Liam had done, Kathryn, in terms of the funeral?
Very, very much so, and he'd done several things that he hadn't told us about, which was quite a surprise. His headstone was just ready on Friday. The guy who made it, Michael Hoy from Ernstone in Enniskillen, was telling my son and I when we went to discuss what he wanted on the headstone. He says, "Oh, actually, Liam had sent me some emails about it already." So that was good to know that, although we hadn't finalised that we're dealing with Michael at that stage. That was such a comfort to know that he had put something in writing to Michael. And to mention what Jennifer, what you were saying about the humanist ceremony, I think that's very, very important. My aunt died a week after Liam died, and she was cremated in Roselawn as well. And her son, my cousin, did the entire service himself, and it was incredibly moving and very, very meaningful. I think that's very, very important.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I'd just like to first of all, pay tribute to Liam Clark. I've followed in politics 30 years. I watched him in many TV debates and talk programmes and everything else, and I always thought he come across as a thoroughly fair and decent individual. I did watch the documentary. The documentary was very, very well made, very emotional, and it just showed the bravery of Mr. Clark and the love and support of the family around him. It was very, very moving, and it just bore testament to the man himself. And,
I think anybody that knew him would say that, Kathryn. Absolutely, a fantastic man. And did you watch the documentary afterwards then? Was it hard to watch?
I'd watched it twice before. First of all, let me say, John, thank you very much for those very, very kind remarks. Liam would have deeply appreciated that.
Yeah.
But Tara, you asked about the documentary. Yeah, I watched it twice before it was shown, and I've watched it several times afterwards, though not for quite a few months now. It's hard watching.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah. It's hard watching, and the thing that strikes me, because we saw Liam every day, we hadn't realised how ill he was appearing, and it was absolutely obvious in retrospect. Everyone was telling him he looked so well because he'd lost so much weight, but that was the cancer, not the fact of any kind of healthy eating plan. But no, it certainly it brings things home to you. Yeah. But it's a very worthwhile exercise preparing for that kind of thing, and not everybody will be prepared to cooperate with a documentary programme or like Liam was, but we have to remember there's groups like At Dignity in Dying on Twitter who discuss all these issues. We have to remember that Labour's Lord Charlie Falconer a couple of years ago introduced the assisted dying bill. Unfortunately only got 2 readings, but that was something that when Liam went public about his cancer in the Belfast Telegraph, he spelled out very clearly the reasons why he was in support of Lord Falconer's assisted dying bill.